this is Meredith from Beadalon, and today I'm going to show you how to make a multi-strand illusion bracelet using the slide connector with lobster clasp and extension chain. To do this project, you'll need one slide connector, some number 2 crimp tubes, 49 strand 024 Beadalon bead stringing wire in gold color, some 2mm round bead bumpers, some round crystals or pearls or beads. These ones I'm using are 6mm today. And then of course you'll need a pliers, a crimping plier, and a nipper. To get started, you'll need to figure out how long you want the bracelet portion of your bracelet to be, and then add about 2 inches on each side so you'll have enough extra wire to work with. So I'll go ahead and take my wire and grab a number 2 crimp tube and thread that wire around and back through the crimp tube to make a loop. I'll tighten that up all the way at the end of the wire and use my crimping pliers to crimp that tube into place. Once you have your crimp tube crimped, you'll go ahead and just snip off the end of the wire. And this becomes the part that will slide into the tube clasp. Before we're ready to do that, we're going to string up our beads. The best way to get the bead bumper onto your beading wire is by placing a bead bumper on your index finger and piercing the center of the bumper with your beading wire. Once you have your bead bumper on the wire, you'll move it down to the end and then string on one of your beads. To finish the pattern, we'll add another bead bumper. Continue with the pattern, 1 bead bumper, 1 bead, and another bead bumper until you reach the end of the design. After you're done stringing all of the bead bumpers and your beads onto the wire, you want to just double check and make sure that there's 1 bead bumper on each side of the beads, and you're going to go ahead and add a number 2 crimp tube on the other side. Now I know that I like my bracelets to be about 6 inches. That's going to be the amount that's going to fit my wrist. You'll have to do a little trial and error to see what will fit best for you, but with this design you definitely want to make sure that all of those strands are approximately the same size. So after you have your crimp tube strung onto your wire, you'll go back around and throw it just like you did on the other side. And I find it helpful to grab the end of the wire to pull it tight. And here's where you want to measure and make sure that it is about the size that you need it to be. Just go ahead and double check and pull it. And now I will go ahead and take my crimping pliers and crimp that tube into place. After you've finished with 1 strand, you want to make 4 more for a total of 5 strands. And as you are finishing up each of the ends, you want to make sure that each of those strands is just about the same length. Next, you'll take your clasp and thread each of those crimps into the opening of the slide tube. So each of these wires will slide right in to the opening of the slide tube. It helps if you point the loop to the closed end of the tube when you are threading them in. When you have them all inside the tube clasp, what you'll do is either with your finger, or I like to use a pliers, gently bend the top of the crimp tube down. For added security, turn it over and press it down on your beading table. Lastly, and I find it's easier to take the clasp apart to do this step, you want to make sure that you follow the same order and thread the rest. You want to make sure you follow the same order and thread the other sides into the other side of the slide connector clasp. And just as you did on the other side, use your chain nose pliers to gently close the top of the slide connector. Turn it over and give it a little push for added security. Now you are all ready to wear your new bracelet.